Hello, I'm Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow.
For Expansions.com, and this is our news podcast for the very last days of July 2012. And wow, there are so many things I have to tell you. I don't know where to begin. Do you know where to begin? Because I don't know where to begin.
There's a lot. I agree. In fact, I had to cut out a lot of stories. And I still have a lot of stories. It's all, everything's happening.
Everybody said you talk too much anyway.
Yeah, that I know.
And so I'm going to try to talk a little bit more.
Don't worry, I'll just talk right over you.
Yeah, but you know that I'm going to Russia in October, and as it turns out, a lot of the stories, or some of the stories I have to tell you today, are about Russia.
Are you taking anybody with you?
I go alone.
You do?
Yes, because then there's more vodka for me.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I heard. I heard that there's still spaces open if you want to go with Stewart and learn about these stories in person on the Bears and Roses adventure.
Yes, but I'm not sharing any caviar or vodka, so you're on your own with that stuff. Back to my stories on Russia. It turns out that Russia is beginning again its submarine patrols off the eastern coast of the United States, as you may remember. That is why the Montauk base, supposedly, the SAGE radar was developed and put on the East Coast and other parts of the U.S. to protect against Russian invasion. And here we are, I don't know, 20 years after the fall, more after the fall of the communism in the Soviet Union, and here we have again, Putin is back in office, the Russians are reconstituting the Soviet Union, as I've told you many times, and now they are restarting submarine patrols off the east coast of the United States. That is very aggressive action from the Russians. In addition, and this is a very curious story, you know how Russia has always been on the side of Iran and the Arab League over the last couple of decades against the Israelis to some degree. But in the last few weeks, the Russians have made very strong overtures to the Israelis, and the reason is, and I've mentioned this before, the Israelis and the Greeks and the Cypriots have discovered huge oil and gas reserves off the coast of Israel and Cyprus, and the Russians are very upset that now that could possibly help the Europeans when the Russians like to cut the oil and gas off in the winter so they can raise the prices, and then the freezing Europeans will pay anything to get the gas and oil back on from the pipelines through Ukraine. So now here we come with the Israelis and the Greeks and the Cypriots joining forces to create their own oil and gas that they would very easily sell to the EU. And so the Russians want to step in, fund all the exploration and development of these oil and gas fields in the Eastern Mediterranean, and chum up with the Israelis and drop the Arabs and Iranians like they were hot metal. So, very interesting things that we're going to see. And in addition to all of that, the Russians are looking for warm water bases all around the world. They're talking again to Cuba, the Seychelles Islands, and of course they do have a base already in Syria, but that could be in jeopardy depending on what happens in the next few weeks and months.
Plus, I've been mentioning also that the Ukrainian language and the Russian language has been shown on the internet, on English-speaking stations without subtitles, but showing the alphabet and having them talk. And I found that also very curious because I've never seen that displayed on the internet like that. If anything ever happens, there's subtitles, but not now.
And speaking of threats against the United States, there is a group called the Aspen Security Forum, which is warning that the U.S. electrical grid could cause, and I quote, long-term, large-scale outages, and that these outages could be caused by acts of terrorism to block the United States from retaining its global positions. But in addition, and this is the most interesting part, according to this report, they are expecting the recurrence of a massive earthquake along the New Madrid fault line like happened 200 years ago in 1812, that, and I quote, would cause a power outage for weeks to months across a multi-state area with rolling blackouts in the East Coast. And so if a New Madrid earthquake does hit along the Mississippi River Valley, and will affect most of the South and Midwestern United States, the terrorist groups or the terrorist cells supposedly who've crossed into the United States from Mexico could take advantage of that and create all kinds of havoc across the United States. So that's something also to be aware of.
Did you, is that not to interrupt you, but did you hear that there are 300 million without power now in India?
In India, yes. There's more people without power in India than the entire population of the United States and Canada combined. That's a lot of hot Indians.
It is, but I wonder if they're diverting that power somewhere else, so at the Olympics going on.
Well, of course, India is having issues with Pakistan and the rest of the Muslim world, and so, but India does not have a good infrastructure, and so it's not really unusual for them to have an issue like that. But going back to the United States and seismic activities. According to U.S. scientists, the Cascadia fault line, which has been dormant for over 300 years, they are expecting it to trigger a tsunami that will devastate seaside communities and reach as far away as Japan. And they're also saying that this mega thrust earthquake will create unprecedented damage in northwest coast cities which are unprepared for this type of an event. And of course that would be Seattle, Vancouver, Portland, and even into Northern California. And they do expect, and according to this report, that the Pacific Northwest, affecting Oregon, Washington State, Vancouver Island, could have tsunami waves over 30 meters high. That's 100-foot high waves striking the northwest coast of the United States as well as Japan, which did happen in 1700, and it's way overdue for the next one. So we need to be prepared for that. I don't know if there is a way you can prepare for anything like that.
Leave.
Yeah, but you know what else? And just as an aside, there has been an increase in UFOs all over the world, especially Canada, the UK, Russia, and China. I did post on my website about the UFO that was seen over the Olympic opening ceremonies. I have another video which is a little more clear that definitely proves it's not a blimp, it's not an airplane, it's not a helicopter. This is a strange object. You can believe what you want, but seeing is believing. I also posted a video about on alien invasion that the U.S. had shown on cable television. Now, some of you have written in that in UK, Sweden, and in a couple of other countries, your video is blocked and you're not allowed to see it. So we're going to try to see what we can do to allow you to see that particular video, because it's really worth seeing. Apparently, according to the experts on that video, the United States has created and looked at every possible scenario of alien invasion and what can be done about it. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see that. Many people are writing into me about depression and anxiety that they're feeling all over the world. You need to use your ultimate protection in violet. You need to stay in the brown merger at your pineal gland. Look those up on expansions.com. Do the work, people, because you know what? It's not going to get any easier in the days and weeks to come. So you need to really take care of yourself. There's also been some controversy on what we posted, I think, on Facebook about the face of James Holmes, the shooter in Colorado, where it shows that old picture of him split in half with the picture of him after his arrest, and you can clearly see the bone structure is different, the eyes are different, the hair is... This is not the same person, people.
Ears are different. Everything
is there. It's like, how can they even portray him as being that original person? They are two different people. And it reminds me so much of Saddam Hussein and German television saying that there were 10 different versions of Saddam Hussein. So which was the one they captured? Which was the one they hung? You know, it's all a big scam.
Well, and then of course there was the Devil's Double that was made based on his son. So they're actually telling you what they're doing. So this isn't like a surprise. If they're doing it to the son, think of what they're doing to the parents.
Yes, yes. So something definitely is going on with that story. It's being overshadowed now by the Olympics. Isn't that curious? That's on purpose as well. but we'll keep tabs on that and let you know what's going on. As far as weather is concerned, the second dust storm in 1 week has struck Phoenix, Arizona, with winds up to 50 miles per hour. They're calling it a haboob. Now, I want to know from all of you people living in Arizona or anywhere in the southwestern United States, when you were growing up years ago, those of you who are, let's say, a little bit older than 30
12.
or 40, yeah, more little, you know, my age, closer to me, which is like 35.
Right.
And so, when you grow up, did the news say, hey, there's a haboob warning in effect, or there's a haboob coming in? Never heard of those things, ever, ever, ever. But now they talk about it on the news as if it's just, you know, you heard that every day of your life.
Well, even myself, because I'm from Eastern Washington, I spent many, many years there farming, and also Eastern Oregon and into Idaho. And we had dust storms all the time, and they were, except we called them sandstorms because of the topography.
Sandstorms we heard of.
Yes, but never did we ever hear
Never
this
heard
word.
of the word haboob. So something is going on with that. And
well, I'm going to be talking about her boobs
her
soon.
boobs. You can talk about her boobs
Soon,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, someone from the UK wrote in about that. That was very. He said the last time I heard about haboob was Janet Jackson. Yeah, so that's very interesting. And what, Natasha? What is it that you want, Natasha? Natasha's very upset that she's not on camera.
Yeah, we hear that she has a big fan club growing among humans and other animals out there.
Natasha, you going to behave? Are you going to behave? Yes or no? Speak. Speak up. They can't hear you. No.
She's shy today.
She's very upset. She wants her own microphone and her own camera.
Yeah. And Makeup Man.
And one last story from me, which is very, very telling, which I found online, and I really had to look for this. And this was posted. Yes, Natasha, did you read that story too? You did? No, you didn't read that story? Do you know what it says? You do? Do you want to tell the people about it? No, she said I should do it myself. Okay, there is a nurse, an administrative nursing supervisor in a hospital in Tampa, Florida. Now, she was on vacation, and she's returning to work this week, and found that all of the hospital staff has been denied all vacations for the entire month of August, and all nurses are expected to sign up for extra shifts on top of that. So, these vacations are revoked from August 9th to September 8th in Tampa, Florida. So, what is that hospital expecting? Is there going to be an event in the Gulf of Mexico in the next month or 6 weeks that will require nursing staff to be on hand 24/7? So, keep that in mind as well. And what do you have, Janae?
Well, I have a lot of things, but I want to follow up on what you were talking about, the Olympics and the shooting, because, and this kind of ties in with what you just said about Florida, and I don't know how many of you saw this as well, but I found an article, and it says, I'm quoted, "The tragedy that played out in an Aurora movie theater was ironically paralleled as a classroom learning experience in a medical school in Parker the very same day." Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine is in the middle of holding specialized classes in disaster life support for 150 second-year medical students. And it says, along with response to natural disasters like hurricanes and floods and terrorist attacks, one of the scenarios being used to train the students is how to respond if a shooter fires at people in a movie theater and also uses a bomb in the attack.
And that is what was tested the day of the shooting.
The day of. Yes, it says Rocky Vista Dean Dr. Bruce Dubbin said that irony is amazing, just amazing. He said emergency specialist physicians from Parkland Hospital in Dallas, as well as from several other emergency programs around the country, are teaching the advanced disaster life support training. However, Rocky Vista is the only medical school in the nation to make that training a part of the curriculum, and lo and behold, they needed to use it that day. So anyway, I just thought that was very interesting when we talk about how the people are set up and how these scenarios are planned.
And the other thing I wanted to say is that in Aurora, Colorado, there is a street called Zion Street. And as we know, that is on the Olympic flag, the word Zion. So, hello, you can't make this up, people.
Yeah, there are a lot of things going on out there, and if you know how to read the symbolism, which is what we're teaching you to do, and hopefully you're learning right along with what we're talking about, you can understand that the Illuminati talks in symbol. And it's all right there in front of your face. You have to understand that symbol, or we would call archetype, in order to understand the plans that are being advanced. So anyway, I want to be sure and bring that to your attention. And one last thing on the Olympics, I was reading that they want to do pole dancing sport in 2016, which ties into what else I'm going to tell you about haboobs.
Yes.
So, but, you know, like we talked about earlier, snowboarding at one time, you know, that was poo-pooed. Pole dancing sport, they're laughing, but the women who are doing this are very serious, and of course that's going to go right into our New World religion.
That's really not an Olympic event.
Well, they're going to make it fun, that's my feeling. So, let's continue with haboobs. Okay, breastfeeding. Now, again,
again with the breastfeeding. Why you have fascination with this?
I can't figure out why it keeps playing itself out in the news. This is what's interesting to me. There was a Seattle mom, Lauren Ferrari, the interesting last name, posted a photo
I bet she goes fast.
Yeah, I bet she does, apparently. She posted a photo on Facebook of her 5-year-old. Now, they don't say if this is a boy or girl. Of her 5-year-old pretending to nurse her 2-year-old. Okay, within 24 hours, Facebook took the picture down, claiming she violated the site's policies, and she was banned from the social network for several days. So the mother responds, quote, "When I posted it, she didn't say, 'Mommy, look, she's kissing my boobie.' She says she's nursing my baby." So she didn't think the photo was inappropriate. So again, remember, we're having all these things. The man who had to nurse from his wife for erectile dysfunction. We have the women on the cover of Times Magazine. Now we have one baby nursing off of another baby. And in fact, I didn't even get this one because there's so much of it out there. It's like almost overwhelming. But they said 2 sisters-in-law, I think it's on Real Housewives, were caught groping each other's boobs. So why they do this?
How come I'm never at those parties?
I don't know.
You know, I miss the haboob in Phoenix. I miss the booby things on the
I guess.
internet.
Well, right now apparently it just has to do with women and women, from what I can gather. Then the other thing that's being talked or shown, again, visual imprinting, this is called side boobs.
Side boobs?
Side boobs.
Well, there's plastic surgery for that.
Well, what they're doing now is they're cutting women's, you know, you've seen it for a long time, but very long fronts, you know, that go down to their navel. Now they're doing the same thing on the side with a tiny bit of cloth across the nipple area. And they're taking pictures of women on this side and that side, and sometimes even in advertisements with their arms folded, but the sides of the breasts are being exposed. So like, you know, first we're showing the top, now we're showing the bottom, now we're showing the side, then we're a little nipple shown in, like I told you, and listen to this one. I just watched this on AOL. I told you there will come a time when women are going to be walking around bare-topped. Well, you know what? In New York City, there is a woman doing just this. She is walking around New York City. They showed her on the video clip without a top on, doing her everyday work. She said that she is protesting that women cannot go bare-chested where men can go bare-chested. So they have her shopping in a busy area in New York City.
And she doesn't get arrested for that.
Well,
you know, in San Francisco, it's legal to walk around nude.
For a female or for anybody?
Anyone, as long as you're not aroused.
All right. Well, anyway, apparently now they're pushing it forward in New York City. So I told you, you know, this is happening out there, and it's not something in the far future that we're dreaming is happening. So interesting.
Well, that makes me want to go back to New York City.
Interesting breast news.
Yeah, let's keep abreast of that situation.
Yes, let's do. All right. Well, speaking of breasts, some people like things a little further.
It seems like that's all you've been talking about.
Yeah, because it's so fascinating, because this is how they're bringing in New World religion. People are, it sounds so far-fetched, but when you start looking at what's happening out there, it's not far-fetched. So some people don't like breasts. They want to go a little further south. So the other thing I've been reporting quite a bit on is bestiality in the news. In Bali, there was a boy who was forced to marry a cow because he was caught having sex with it.
That happened with my first marriage.
Yeah. You did that in your first marriage? You had sex with a cow.
Well,
that's terrible.
You know, you missed the whole thing. I'm sure they got
Some days I'm slow.
A little bit. That's because of the boob stories make you too slow.
No, I think it makes you too fast when you hear the boob stories. All right, the boy was forced to marry a cow in Bali because he was caught having sex with a cow, and apparently it upset the entire village. And they needed to cleanse. I'm not sure if they were cleansing the village, the boy, or the cow. I'm not sure.
The poor cow needed some help there.
He was so upset that apparently, I guess this young man actually was 18. He passed out during the ceremony, and then it said, "Tell us about your most embarrassing moment." So
that gives a whole new meaning to the term. Don't have a cow.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But now in Sweden, they're looking for a 60 to 70-year-old man who was found walking around naked, who has been having sex with sheep.
Ew.
And apparently in Sweden, it's not illegal to have sex with animals as long as you don't harm the animal.
That's why there's not a lot of Swedish people.
They haven't figured it out. Well, anyway, this man tied up the back legs of the sheep in order to make it, I guess, easier for himself.
Do we have to go there? Because it's getting disturbing.
So now they're looking for him. But again, bestiality is in the news, and as while we're kind of teeing about it, again, this has to do with New World religion and ritual. So, moving along.
Yeah, let's move along.
But there has been a lot in the news, so keep watching that one. Teen trend, plastic surgery to escape bullying. Now, last week I told you about Botox, that they're doing younger and younger, like they did the Viagra for the men who didn't really need it, the young women who didn't need the Botox. Now they're going to plastic surgery to escape bullying, because that's a lot easier than educating people and making them behave, apparently. But remember, again, I keep telling you about this series, The Pretties and the Uglies. This is exactly what they're doing in there. When the population turns 16, male or female, they give them a plastic surgery makeover, so they're all beautiful.
I see, and then they won't get bullied because they're beautiful.
That's right. That's the plan. It has nothing to do with what's inside of themselves. So again, watch these trends, because it is about outer, and it's not about correcting anything inside these days.
I was thinking of plastic surgery, but I couldn't think of anything to fix.
Yeah, well, I certainly couldn't think of anything to fix. You're too perfect.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. And besides that, you don't fit into this teen age group anymore. You're now the young 20-ish.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. On to politics, and again, what they have planning for the young people out there. This one, again, I found interesting. There's a 22-year-old running for New York State Senate. The self-described diva has a themed campaign slogan in a sparkling GIF form that she was inspired by Legally Blonde.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Her name is Mindy Meyer. Now, this is also interesting. She's an Orthodox Jewish law student.
No.
Yep, from
And
Flatbush.
Blonde?
Running on the Republican Conservative Party lines. Now, this is what's interesting. She has a slogan that says, Mindy Meyer for New York State Senate. I'm senator and I know it. Now, the reason she wanted to go to law school originally because of the movie Legally Blonde.
I see.
11 years ago when she was only 10 years old. So she showed her that she could go to Harvard, make it sophisticated, and because pink is her favorite color, she made everything pink, and she's trying to attract a young crowd and recruit more young people.
Are you sure she's not from the Valley?
I'm not sure, but the
I
interesting
think she's from New York.
thing is, okay, she's talking about Legally Blonde, and when you look at her campaign poster, it reminds me of the Hello Kitty things and like cotton candy and all that. So again, in my mind, we're roping the young people in with kind of this Hollywood fantasy, not really here, different reality.
Well, I know about that because I'm a movie star now.
Yeah, I understand, but so we'll get you a pink banner too.
Okay.
So anyway, she says, my idea is to make it very contemporary, funky, cool, not like a typical senator's website. You could fall asleep when you go to Kevin Parker's website, her opponent, because everything's just red, white, and blue. So we're moving away from the flag, from the patriotism. We're moving into cotton candy. We're moving into fantasy world. We're moving into what's real and what's not real, the Disney stuff. So, keep your eyes out, because again, we're going to open up that frequency and they will change people. And the young people will forget eventually about red, white, and blue, and they'll go on to cotton candy fantasy
And they'll
land.
be pink.
They will be pink at this point.
And they'll have breasts and walk around naked.
Yeah, and Botox and everything else.
Yes.
It's going to be a different world.
I'll tell you what.
All right, Portland, Maine. Many of you may have heard about a civilian laborer who set a fire that cost $400 million in damage to a nuclear-powered submarine. Why? Because he had anxiety and wanted to get out of work early. Now,
I should try that sometime.
No, it's not going to work with me.
No, that's true. I can't even call in sick.
No, you cannot. But Now, this was interesting because I reported on this a few months ago, and there was another one. My week is busy. We're getting ready for our immersion course. I didn't have a chance to go back and research it, but there was, when I reported this story, somebody else who did something similar, and at the same time, a young woman right here in St. Joseph called in bomb threats to her new place of employment because she didn't want to go to work. So again, you know, you don't want to go to work, you call up, you say, I have a headache. You don't just start calling in bomb threats or blow up nuclear-powered submarines. So these are activated, triggered people. Be sure you're doing your Brown merger work.
But I have to say that there's a whole new level to calling in sick.
It does. It's just
seriously.
Absolutely incredible what people are doing. And of course, I don't want you to forget about the cannibalism, which they're putting continually new spins on. Now, this one is a Florida puppeteer. Maybe he's going to, maybe that's why they need the hospital going around the August. I'm not sure. And this is a puppeteer who entertains children at birthday parties, schools, and churches. He said the police say he secretly wanted to rape, kill, and eat them.
That's lovely.
Yeah. He's been chatting online with child pornography suspects about extremely, quote, graphic discussions regarding kidnapping, sexually abusing, murdering, and eating children.
My goodness.
He promises grins and giggles for kids on his website, but he was caught online in chat rooms, fantasizing about what he was going to do to the children. This kind of reminds me of the Fred Willard story. Did you see his interview that was on?
I know what happened to him, yes.
Yeah, but they had him, I can't remember which show they had him on, and he was laughing and saying, well, his wife won't tell him anymore to go out to the theater, to get him out of the house. And
I think Fred's a little senile now.
But, they're making light of it. It's a funny thing, that this man is caught masturbating in public, and of course he says, I'm going to get different movies.
That's what they did to Pee Wee Herman.
Yes. Again, so
I love Pee Wee Herman.
But it's an interest. How much do you love him?
A lot. I didn't want to tell you, but I do.
Anyway, but again, this is more about public, bringing things into the public, and it's acceptable because we're not shunning him. We're laughing with him about it. It's funny, haha. So yes, go do this in public. Okay, on to more serious topics. We also have new solar system information because astronomers have discovered an alien solar system whose planets are arranged much like those in our solar system.
It's like it's a mirror.
It's a miracle.
Wow.
Researchers.
I wonder if there's another me on there.
Yeah, well, let's hope not for this planet.
Could be.
Unless there's another Janet to help you out.
Take two care of you in one universe. Holy cannolis.
Researchers studying the star system Kepler-30, which is 10,000 light years from Earth, found that its 3 known worlds all orbit in the same plane lined up with the rotation of the star, just like the planets in our own solar system do. So again, they're continually telling you that, hey, the aliens out there are just like you. So
can I ask you this? Like, they don't know what the weather is going to be this afternoon, but they know what those stars are doing 10,000 light years from here. That's right. Really amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible stories. Okay, speaking of incredible stories, we have next up on the list Antarctica. Now this again, the stories they tell, they're very, very sloppy in my opinion. There was a dramatic gash, they say, that was discovered in the surface of the Earth that could rival the majesty of the Grand Canyon, has been discovered secreted beneath Antarctica's vast, featureless ice sheet.
I have a dramatic gash somewhere.
I don't want to hear about your dramatic gash. Okay, now this was interesting because it was discovered during a grueling 1,500-mile trek. However, listen to this. There was a man who sensed that something incredible was literally underfoot, hidden by more than a half-mile of ice.
He must be psychic.
Sensed
he must be
that
psychic.
this was hidden. They're just out on a 1,500-mile trek.
He might be a competitor.
Half-mile under the ice, he senses something as askew. So they drive around in their, what do they call them, snowmobile things?
Antarctic
stuff. They're out there. And lo and behold, under this half-mile sheet of ice. Now, how they got through that half-mile sheet of ice, I don't know exactly. But they call it the Ferrigno Rift for the glacier because the chasm's steep walls plunge nearly a mile down at its deepest. It's roughly 6 miles across, at least 62 miles long, and may even extend into the sea. Now, of course, once they have found this and told you about it, what's next? They're going to have to go in and explore it.
Yeah, and no, they said it's a chasm with steep walls.
Yeah.
So maybe he sensed it because he had an orgasm.
You're losing me here. You're losing me. You got to come up with better material. You got to have better material than this. I'm better than this, and I'm not even talking that way.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so anyway, they're going to go down. They're going to find stuff in Antarctica, I'm sure. They're going to explore this chasm, the Grand Canyon. God knows what they're going to tell us is down there under our Earth.
Bet there's a Nazi with a swastika down there.
Very possible, amongst other alien life forms. Okay, the last story I have for you. Finally. Yeah, really. Is Greenland. Now, we all know that Greenland, of course, supposedly is not green. It's covered by ice.
And snow.
That's right. So, now, interestingly enough, massive ice sheet in Greenland, nearly all of it, suddenly started melting a bit this month, a freak event that surprised scientists. Now, what many of you may not understand is that Greenland is extremely rich in natural resources. And you know what? The global handlers cannot get to those natural resources as long as it's covered with ice sheets. So wouldn't it be convenient if they melted that? Of course, here they say it's a rare event or triggered by man-made global warming. But they do know that the edges of Greenland's ice sheets have already been thinning because of climate change. So once they melt that ice, they can put more water into the ocean, they can get into Greenland's interior, and they can pillage all the natural resources. But it also says that this happens every 150 years anyway, so it has nothing to do with the weather. That's right. So they're really telling you both parts of the story, but they do want to get in there and get those natural resources. So that's your story. No more breast stories? No more breast stories. Huh? Okay, but I'm sure if you look on the internet this week, there's going to be at least a dozen more. There are a lot of them I didn't even report on, believe it or not. Real? Because I think you made some of them up. I can't make these up. This is too wild for even my imagination. All right. Well, don't you have to tell them about what's coming up next week? Well, we do have the immersion week, which starts on Wednesday, which by the time you see this, we are going to probably be almost well into it. Yeah, so that's going to be fantastic. We just did a fantastic interview with Dr. Samir Osmanagic on Infinite Realities. That was very interesting. It was great. It was just a little teaser for what's coming up in September. Yeah. The end of September, we have such an amazing program for you. Dr. Osmanagic will be here with a very special presentation to talk to you about the Bosnian pyramids. We are going to be talking about the hyperspace, oversoul meaning of pyramids, and what they mean to you. Exactly, and how to tap into it. Absolutely, so that you can make dramatic changes in your life. And we are going to be showing a very special film, The Montauk Chronicles. Gee, who's in that? I don't know. Someone really important, a famous movie star. A famous one. And this one is going to be the first time this particular version has been shown because Christopher Garetano, the producer, has been continually tweaking it since it premiered in Montauk, New York in May. Oh, so, he didn't tweak my part. Anyway, it's going to be a fantastic event in September, and we already have a lot of people signing up. So if you want to assure a spot, you really need to get on that list right away and get your reservations made. And after that, you are leaving on the Russian tour. Yeah, but we skipped something in between. What did we skip? Where am I going before that? Yeah. Go ahead, you tell. Well, August 20 to 22, I'll be in Iceland. August 22 to 29, I'll be in England. August 29 to September 1, I will be in Morocco. September 2nd to 4, Ireland. And September 4 to 6, Scotland. So come and see me if you are in those places. I'll be doing lectures, seminars, consultations, probably or possibly movie premieres in some of those locations. So go to expansions.com in the next couple of weeks to get all the details as they come up. Yeah, and the other thing I want to remind you is we're coming close to the month of August. I will be starting a new blog as I do every month. This month was a great one on Truth and Trust, where I told my side of the Blue Blood story. And so... You did? I didn't know about that. You did. You have a side Surprise, to it? I have a side. Oh. So that's been out. All those side boobs that you were talking about. Yeah. So I hope that all of you out there are joining our membership side, because that's where we tell what we really know. All the secrets. The secrets, that's where we really get into the work. That's where we're really going to find some results. So we have a lot of free stuff out there on the site. So a lot of interesting information, but if you really are interested in hyperspace oversoul work, you're going to be on that member side, and you can go back. The blogs are available once you join, so you can read my side of Blue Blood, which we posted this month under Truth and Trust. And in August, I'm going to be addressing family, because that is, I think, as controversial as the word money. Oh, and we do have another money webinar coming up too this coming week. For those of you who missed the first one, I think we still have about, I think that one's half filled.
I don't know.
It's like a week from now or so. But that one's half filled, maybe a little bit over by now. They are limited to 20 places. So if you want to find out how to increase your finances, it's a very special presentation. This will be the last time we're presenting it. And if you want to increase your finances, and people have, and they've written in to given us their testimonials already, just from the 3-day webinar that they attended with us. So, and we love doing the webinars. If you're technically challenged, we do have Martin tech support at expansions.com. Write to him, and he will help you set up in advance so you know what you're doing as best as you can.
And where am I going to be the end of October?
Oh, Stargate to the Cosmos?
Yeah, in Scottsdale.
Or Phoenix, somewhere in Arizona.
I think it's in Scottsdale.
Yeah, that will be posted soon. So we have always lots of things that are coming up, lots of activities. We may be putting something special together for the holidays. We're looking at that.
That's a secret.
I don't want to tell them yet.
No, it's a secret. It's outrageous.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell you yet. So if you don't
it's so secret, I don't even know.
Yeah. So if you don't have any holiday plans, and you want to spend some time exploring the world with Stewart and I.
And you know how much fun that is.
Yeah. Stewart's a barrel of laughs.
Yeah.
So anyway, watch the website for that.
Might be some boobs on that trip.
Ha boobs. Ha boobs.
No ha boobs there, no.
And in January, of course, we're going to be starting our Hyperspace Oversoul Immersion Week, where we teach you to do what I do. And that's a biggie. That's a 7-day. And that's extremely intense. And that is for those who are really, really dedicated. So we have always so much happening. There's no excuse for you to fall into the traps that the world sets for you, because we are showing you how to get your way out, whether it's health, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships. Stewart and I have been there, done that, almost all of it. Some days we feel like we're still there, but we are moving along. We are real people, we have real issues, and we have real solutions. You know, we're not out there telling you what these other people do. I have all my debts paid, everything is wonderful, blah, blah. You know, we are out there just like you every single day, working our way through our stuff. And we're sharing our stuff with you. Most of our stuff that was on the member side, because we really want to make sure you kind of...
It's like we have our own reality show.
We kind of do.
Yeah, it's like better than the Kardashians,
yeah,
I
think. I think so. I mean, it's like, you can't make this up, you can't make up our lives. So we really have had an interesting go-around, I would say. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for joining us, because we do enjoy sharing what we know with you. We enjoy helping you improve your life. We enjoy it when you write to us and tell us that you're using these techniques and they're making a difference, because there is enough for everyone. God mind is limitless. No matter what it is, you can have limitless negative experiences, or you can join us and start having some limitless positive experiences.
Absolutely. And so we will see you next time on expansions.com.
Bye-bye.
Bye.